Ladies and gentlemen, for the first time ever under this tent, I give you Lost Weekend from Singapore.
Baby, let me lose myself in the wilderness of your love. Let me feel your breath upon my skin. Show me that you love me in the way that only you know how. And tonight, I am yours. Let your gaze burn into my soul, electrify my bones. And if morning comes too soon, don't take me home. Play your jazz music on Sunday evening. Pull down the blinds, keep out unwelcome eyes. With a shudder and a sigh, I am yours. And the kids running out on the street, I know they've got daddy's eyes. Let your gaze burn into my soul, electrify my bones. And if morning comes too soon, don't take me home. Let your gaze burn into my soul, electrify my bones. And if morning comes too soon, don't take me home. Don't take me. Thank you. I was young and you were free, etching wooden hearts in the tree of our backyard where you fell. Summer skin was salty sweet, musing over our destiny of fame, fame and glory. We're just waiting for our time. Always waiting to cross that line. And you know it's not about now. It's about forever. I was young and you were free, etching wooden hearts in the tree of our backyard where you fell. I went slow, but you were fast. I guess we knew these days would never last till the early light of the morning. We're just waiting for our time. Always waiting to cross that line. And you know it's not about now. It's about forever. And when indie bands teach you about love and responsibility, you better listen, you better listen, you better listen. And when indie bands teach you about love and responsibility, you better listen, you better listen, you better listen. We're just waiting for our time. Always waiting to cross that line. And you know it's not about now. It's about forever.
Oh my god, what a capacity crowd. Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for Lost Weekend. Great band from Singapore, playing Baybeats for the second time in the band's career. But the first time they auditioned in the year 2013, they actually walked away with a story of rejection and embarrassment as well. It's all worked itself out now, but let's get into that story. What happened the first time around? In the year 2013, when the band first got together, you auditioned for Baybeats, and then what happened?
Yeah, I think we got together in 2012, and we thought, you know, hey, we audition for 2013 and see how that goes. What happened was our drummer was late, like half an hour, and that didn't really put us in good stead. So, and you know, our nerves were rattled, and things didn't go as planned. So naturally, we didn't get in. We took the rejection on our chin, I guess, and we tried to, you know, be more technical, be more strict in rehearsals, and be on time for one thing. And we got in 2014, so that's an optimistic story of success, I guess.
There were a lot of bad omens in 2013.
Such as?
Just before the audition, my guitar fell like bam on the floor. And then there was the late thing, and it doesn't help that I caught Lost Weekend. So, yeah.
Oh yeah, no, cause our drummer said he was lost. no, true. He went to like another place, and it was, or he went to Goodman instead of LaSalle. Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
no,
not
not
Sean.
Sean,
Sean
not
is
Sean.
always punctual, thankfully.
Oh, by the way, Sean just joined us.
Sean is our new member. Everyone say
Yeah,
hi
yeah,
to
yeah.
Sean.
Make some noise for
Yeah.
Sean, ladies and gentlemen.
Sean has been in the scene for a while, so I'm sure a lot of you know Sean. So
I know Sean is an avid toy collector, and also somebody who builds Warhammer 3000 figurines as well, right? Yeah. Okay. We'll talk about that later. Okay, so you guys grew up in the scene, right? Mark, I know you've been, at least a participant in the scene since we got to know each other 10 years ago. How did it feel finally playing Baybeats in the year 2014? Because it's something we would come out here together and stuff like that.
So I mean, I was involved in some of the earlier Baybeats as well as like budding photographer and all that. So it's always been a dream to play Baybeats. But I think Baybeats is actually just a stepping stone. As much as Baybeats is a great opportunity, it's also a great stepping stone to greater things and greater opportunities. So Baybeats isn't the end of the road for us.
You launched your album last year. The National Arts Council was involved. Was it partially funded by the NAC?
Yes, they gave us a grant.
Okay,
Yeah.
so did that help? Did the grant help in
Yes.
significant ways?
Very significantly, yes.
Of course, money sure helps,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, lah.
There was a lot of controversy surrounding, the government giving out grants for bands and stuff like that. So people said, like, it's not the rock and roll principle to do that. But what do you think is the value of government bodies, getting involved in growing the scene in the way that it has?
Oh, that's a very chim question. Yeah.
You're a lawyer, so deal with it.
I think Singapore is a very different case study. So we don't have an industry, and people like Bandwagon are doing things to kind of kickstart that industry. But without an industry, I think it's actually necessary to have some sort of funding to seed the whole music scene and where it's going. We have a scene, but we don't have an industry. So the money's got to come from somewhere.
Actually, I have a slightly different perspective.
Sure.
I mean, in the bands that I've been in, especially most recently Monster Cat, I think our long-term goal was never to rely on grants. I think people shouldn't just look at it as the be-all, end-all of how to grow the scene, because if you don't you don't get responsible for your own growth and exposure, right? I mean, grants can only get you so far. So I mean, while I think it's great, I think more bands should just start being more independent, in a way.
Yeah. So what do you mean by independent? Like you did like this crowdfunding thing and Kickstarter programs.
I think more like have a plan. I mean, it maybe didn't really work out for Monster Cat, but I mean, at least we had a plan where within 3 or 5 years we wouldn't rely on grants anymore and stuff like that.
So don't put all your eggs in the basket of the handouts,
Yeah, yeah,
basically.
yeah.
Right. How do you feel about that, Mark?
I agree. You shouldn't put all your eggs in one basket, but I think Monster Cat's case is quite unique. Like you had not every band can do what Monster Cat did, basically, which is you went the crowdfunding route, and I think you need a certain level of following, a certain popularity before you can actually start getting money from audiences. And for some people that they don't have that yet, so maybe the government can step in that situation.
And on that note, we've been involved in the scene, you and I, Mark, for like 10, 15 years already. Things are very drastically different now than it was before. How do you feel about the outlook of what it's going to be like in the next 10 years?
It's great. I think we are kind of like in the second renaissance period of the local scene. I mean, we grew up in the 90s, and local music was kind of big in a way back then, but I think it's even bigger today. When the House of Riot had their show at the Esplanade, and they sold that out. So that was, I think, a barometer of how popular the scene is today and where it's going. So I think, onward and upwards, I guess.
I'm interested to know, what do you feel are other barometers of success for the Singapore music scene? Because it's relative to different people, right?
Other barometers for success, well, the fact that we are getting a lot more radio play, local music, so it's getting a lot more radio play, not just on Lush, of course, which you have a big hand in, I would like to add, but also on like more mainstream radio channels like 987, and even today, I mean, radio is not the only platform for music to reach out to people. Online, you see a lot of like Bandwagon's has a big following, so The fact that Bandwagon is also growing from success to success and they're going overseas is also another barometer of the local music scene's popularity.
Another thing as well is, I think some of our artists here, they are truly getting a crack at like the world stage. And I mean, who comes to mind? Lin Ying. I just read something to do with Billboard. So I mean, that's truly inspiring stuff.
Billboard did an exclusive premiere for one of her songs, "Sticky Leaves," which is unprecedented, right?
Yeah.
It's never happened before.
Yeah, so I mean, the fact that locally the support is getting there and getting even better, but internationally as well, there is a footprint, then it's all good signs.
And also the means for distribution also now is expanding. This relatively unknown Singaporean singer-songwriter, Sam Ray, came out of nowhere. 22,000 plays on Spotify. I'm sure some of you don't even know her name yet. But 22,000 plays on Spotify, no work put out before that. This was within a week of her putting the song on Spotify.
And I mean, I'd just like to add to that a lot of these artists are, as you said, coming out of nowhere. Like previously, like in the scene when we used to be around, it'd take like 3 to 5 years before a band would kind of like make a name for themselves. But now, like singer-songwriters or young bands, they're out for like maybe a year or something, and they get signed and they're being promoted extensively. So it's the growth rate is quite astounding, I think.
A lot of these younger bands are also kind of growing up in an environment that's native to what they know. Because we are slightly older than them, so we've had to kind of shift our mindsets a little bit. How's that changed the way Lost Weekend operates as a business entity?
As a business?
Is this something that you even think about?
We are a very poor business entity.
Yeah, we're very poor. We'd be like...
In all senses of the word.
Yeah, I think we're kind of like in the generation that got caught in between. So we kind of know how the scene used to be when you had to be more DIY and you had to do like through like word of mouth and try and grow that way. But honestly, I think we're trying to struggle with means of distribution through the internet and marketing through the internet. It's growing so fast that, maybe Sean has something else to add.
No, I just think it's amazing that how a lot of the younger bands now like really leverage social media. We really suck at that, lah. I think
That is true.
it's kind of not as natural, I feel, in a way. You don't think so? Feel free to disagree.
No, I don't know. We still kind of stick to the traditional, put out print media, put out albums, and like even Facebook is like, wow, very high tech to us. So, not quite on the same same wavelength, I think, yet.
Well, thankfully there's a Bandwagon. So round of applause for Bandwagon. Okay.